Welcome to Slapshot Podcast, episode number 79. I'm your host, Christopher Morais. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Come grab a seat. Maybe grab your hot chocolate. We can sit around the virtual fire, and we can talk a little bit of hockey. This Christmas is just around the corner. Glad you could be here. Glad you could hang out. The NHL finishing up their last few games before the break. And we have no shortage of stuff to get to today, right? We have no shortage. I was going to do this on Friday. Decided to extend it a little bit for main reasons, which we'll get into, but also because I won't be here Friday. So that's it. You'll have to do with it. This is the last Slapshot Podcast episode until the new year. I know. Insert crying emoji here. But again, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for being here. If you are new here, you have found yourself in here by accident. Thank you, YouTube algorithm. Go ahead, hit the sub button, ring the bell. Right? If you are listening to this podcast, maybe you don't want to see my face, and that's understandable. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere. Anywhere you get podcasts, you can find this. Right? Make sure you do so. Make sure you follow the podcast on X at Slapshot Podcast. Follow me on X as well at FuzzyHurst91. So we're gonna do things just a little bit different today. Just a little bit. Usually we start off with like some news, Puckdoku, and then we get to the main topic. We got there's too many things. There's too many teams that need to be a topic today. So instead we're gonna quick news, just quick some stuff. Main topic stuff, and we're gonna finish with Puckdoku. Of course, we'll send you off with a holiday where I am hoping to do a lot better than last time. All right. Quick news here. It's just going to be about Montreal Canadiens because that's all I care about. That's all I truly care about. The good and the bad. The good is Patrik Laine. I know, homie. Will Patrik Laine ever stop scoring on the power play? We may never know. We may never know. Homie has found an office. At first it was a feel-good story. You're like, man, welcome back and stuff. He has revolutionized that Montreal Canadiens power play. He is he's taken Cole Caulfield's spot, right? And maybe some people are like, oh, poor Cole. But I'm not worried about it. The league at one point is going to adjust. Because right now, that face-off dot there, the left side of the ice, that has been Alexander Ovechkin's home for the better part of the last 2 decades. Now, I feel like Ovechkin is kind of he not subleased it, but he's allowed a roommate to live with him because Laine is just clapping bombs here. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Again, at some point, teams are going to start to respect him. And they're going to take him away. And then others, there's other shooters that are going to open up. But this isn't just a one-shooter kind of thing. I get it. They're all on the power play. Everybody's like, what about his 5-on-5 numbers? I don't care. All I care about is the puck going in the net. 5-on-5, is his entire line maybe getting eaten alive? Sure, it's possible. But if you're scoring goals on the power play, you're making it count. Hey, you take the good with the bad. Right now, it's going good for him. It's feeling great. It's honestly, like I said, it's a great story. I feel so happy for him. You could feel the buzz around the Montreal Canadiens and everything that he's bringing. Just round of applause, GDs to him. Do I have a clapping one? Of course I do. Here we go. Round of applause. There we go. Attaboy, Patrik Laine. The bad news is Cayden Primeau. If you have no idea who Cayden Primeau is, you may have forgotten about him because he has not started an NHL game in what feels like forever. Sam Montembeault, right? So Montreal plays tonight, Monday, against Columbus, and Montembeault is making his 10th straight start. He even started the back-to-back against Detroit. He is good. I have made my case for Samuel Montembeault, but if you're not giving Primeau a chance, Primeau has terrible numbers, okay, and a lot of that is probably on him. But I'm worried about what are the Montreal Canadiens going to do with him? Because if you're not playing him, and Marty St. Louis got a little bit testy with the media when they kept asking about Primeau and stuff like that. So I'm having a hard time understanding when he might play again, if ever, because I am old enough to remember when the Montreal Canadiens had a 3-headed goalie monster, and less than a year later they have one goalie. So I'm trying to think, again, hindsight is perfect 2020. I understand that. But you moved on from Jake Allen so you could have Montembeault and Primeau. And now you've basically exiled him. Primeau's not even in the conversation anymore. I don't believe you could trade him because he has no value, right? All you're looking for with him is somebody going to pay, I don't know, top dollars for a goalie who's not playing well? He's still young, and you could probably get away with it. I feel like it would be, if you tried to put him on waivers, my assumption is he wouldn't clear, right? There are enough teams that need goaltending, and somebody will take a chance on him. So I feel like the Montreal Canadiens we can't let him go down on waivers. But if you think so little of him, what does it matter if you lose him or not? I feel like, again, if you thought Primeau was this bad, why didn't you just trade him? Or maybe they tried to and they didn't get what they wanted for him. But now I feel like you can't get anything for him. Literally nothing. And you cannot get better as a player if you're not playing. So I don't know what this situation is going to be like, but it's not great. It's not good for Primeau. The Montreal Canadiens need a backup goalie now. That's what we're getting to here. Because Sam Montembeault can't play 60 games this year. You know what I mean? Even if you wanted to turn him into a workhorse, right? He's no Connor Hellebuck, right? And that's probably that's not what you want to do. You need to find somebody because you need a backup goalie who could play a little bit every once in a while. You can't just keep running Montembeault into the ground here because at some point it's going to catch up to him. But it is quite ironic that, a 3-headed monster, and now you don't have any monsters. You have one goalie. You went from 3 to 1, and you're like, ideally, can we have 2? But I guess that's not what we're getting for Christmas. So yes, good for Patrik Laine. Oh boy for Cayden Primeau. That is the stuff I wanted to get to quickly. Let's get into the more important stuff here because we have a ton of. I am going to rip some teams today. All right. If you are part of these fan bases, I could not care less about you. Right. I'm saying it right. I'm not crying tears for you guys. Okay. Just figure it out. You know what I mean? 'Tis the season to just your teams need to play better. Let's start with the New York Rangers because I feel like we've been here. And what I mean by we've been here, we literally have 2 weeks ago when we talked about Jacob Trouba. Since then, the Rangers have gotten what I thought was not possible worse. They have. This is a team that they traded Puckdoku after they decided to healthy scratch him. And Capo did not mince words, right? He basically spoke from the heart, saying he was scratched because he was easier to scratch him because he's a younger player, and that he didn't feel like he was the problem. And to his credit, statistically, he was not the problem. There are other Rangers that are the problem. He was not one of it. Fast forward, he was then traded to Seattle. Good for him, I guess, getting out of New York. I don't know many people who would be happy to go from the Big Apple to Seattle, but I feel like Puckdoku is happy. Do you want to call it a bust? I mean, look, it is what it is, right? Jack Hughes went first in that drop. Puckdoku went second. Did the Rangers probably not develop him the right way? Sounds right. Did you know Puckdoku's been in the league now for 6 years? I feel like Hobie was drafted yesterday, but he's 6 years. So in 6 years, did it work out? I don't know. Fresh start. The Rangers said it had nothing to do with the scratching. Okay. The timing of that. But so the Rangers continued to lose. They did today because they played the afternoon game. Again, this is Monday. They played the afternoon game against the Devils and lost 5-0. Again, an absolute no-show from the Rangers here. What was more interesting here in this game was that Chris Kreider was a healthy scratch. Now, that is definitely sending a message because Kreider has scored 50 goals in the past. Now he's sitting in the press box. He's got 1 assist this season, by the way. So, yeah, Chris Kreider has 1 more assist this season in the NHL than I do. All this to say, Rangers have now lost 13 of their last 17 games, okay? We don't even have time to talk about Matt Rempe and all the stuff that he does, okay? He has been suspended 8 games for being himself. He drilled Miro Heiskanen in the back against Dallas. The NHL has obviously thrown the rule book at him. This isn't his first time being suspended. He's now been suspended for what, 12 games? He's played 22 NHL games. I get what he brings and what you want out of Matt Rempe, but homie is not going to make it in the NHL if you're doing this. He is a danger to everybody else. I get wanting to be physical and, play well and change the momentum for your team, but you can't keep getting suspended, man. Maybe the Rangers want him to play hard, but there are probably players on that team that are saying, hey, man, if especially if you're a good player, I wouldn't want a guy drilling me from behind. You know what I mean? So, again, we don't even have time to really talk about Matt Rempe because he plays like 4 minutes a night. I don't understand how he's getting in so much trouble with so little ice time. That's the hard part. We'll deal with him at some other time. At least not this year, because he's got seven more games to think about what he's done. But the scratching of Chris Kreider is definitely something to think about. The Rangers, the solution clearly has to come from within the room. We're not going to beat around this topic again because we did last time. Just go back to the previous episode. All of that remains true. But at what point is all of this going to fall apart for New York? And what has to change? Do I think the Rangers are going to trade Chris Kreider? Probably not. I'm not there yet, right? All it does say, though, all that Peter Laviolette has done now is make it seem like he tried the easy path, which was scratching Kakko, right? And saying, hey, it's easier to put him in the press box, which, again, it probably is. But if I'm some of the veteran guys on that team looking at you, Mika Zibanejad, you might be next. Because if you can do it to Kreider, you can do it to Zibanejad and kind of send a message. Those guys don't like to be sitting in the press box, right? And it's been tough. But something's got to change for the Rangers, and it's got to come from within that locker room. And the players that they went to go get, Will Borgen and stuff like that, that's not going to move the needle for the Rangers. This is more of Chris Drury just moving guys who just don't want to be there anymore, right? Like Trouba. Well, Trouba wanted to be there. The Rangers didn't want to be here. That was a fiasco. And now with the comments that Kakko said and how everything went down, it is just not a good time to be a New York Rangers fan. And again, I look, am I sad? No, there are no tears here. Am I sad that Chris Kreider's sitting in the press box? Of course not. Of course not. I have ulterior motives, obviously, from it. If you know, i.e. 2014. But again, something has to happen to the Rangers. I don't know what it is, but if it's not going well for them, I'm not crying. Who knows who knows how that's going to go down. All right. So Ranger fans, strap in. It's probably going to be a long year. Next, we're going to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. Okay. Because this team now feels like a soap opera. And I'm here for it. I love a little spicy drama. I love it. And this is more to, again, you have heard it. If you care about hockey a little bit, you've probably heard it. But Elias Pettersson and JT Miller don't get along. I don't think that's a secret. The only people who think that that's not true is Elias Pettersson and JT Miller. And they have done, they may say there's nothing there, but homie, I'm telling you, man, it does not look good. Man. word on the ice rink is they just don't get along. But the problem is now is it has become a distraction. Okay? It's a distraction. There's no two ways around it. That's all people want to talk about. And JT Miller said, the media has caused this, and like he can come out here and do a press conference with Petey, as they call him, and everything will be fine. And I'm looking at JT Miller going, homie, you are lying. And it's not even like it's like, oh, maybe he's lying. He is flat out lying. And there's no secret that Elias Pettersson probably has to be better, right? Homie got a big contract. He's got 8 more years on his deal. JT Miller's got 6. So you guys are, you know what I mean? Like the Vancouver Canucks have these 2 players for a little bit, okay? Now, JT Miller missed some time earlier in the season for personal reasons. We don't know what they are, but Elias Pettersson played a lot better when JT Miller wasn't around. Now JT Miller's back, and Elias Pettersson just doesn't look right. Like his 26 points in 33 games is not terrible, but the 8 goals is just like, I feel like there needs to be enough. I am of the belief, look, do we all have a coworker that we don't like, but it's a professional environment, so we tolerate them? Yes. And Rick Tocchet came out and said the same thing. His quote was, they don't have to play PlayStation together. Like nothing, like that's, first of all, somebody who doesn't play PlayStation says it like that, right? That's not it, but okay. And I will give Quinn Hughes credit here because he did beat around the bush in his press conference about it, right? And he spoke about how much he loves it, how much they're brothers, and sometimes, like family, and sometimes you argue with your family and all that jazz. But that it's a thing that they have to work on, and it's going to get better, and they believe in him. Again, Elias Pettersson, when they were talking about it, got quite testy with it. He left his press conference early. You could see he didn't want to talk about it. You could see it's bothering him, like it's irritating him. And JT Miller, the same thing. And as of this moment, the Vancouver Canucks are sitting in a wild card spot, which after the season that they had last year seems like a disappointment. Thatcher Demko is back and healthy. This team is relatively healthy, where they need to be. And I feel like at some point, somebody has to step in and tell JT Miller. My assumption is JT Miller's being an asshole. I'm just saying, I feel like he's the one bullying a little bit Elias Pettersson. I don't think it's the other way around. And look, it's not uncommon for guys, holding other players accountable. Like that's hockey. We've all argued with our own teammates. We've all played with guys that we don't like sometimes. But you got to make it work, especially the NHL, because you are a professional. This is your job. You don't have to hang out with them, but you got to figure out how to make it work on the ice. I, being the person who likes to stir stuff, I would play them together. That's it. JT Miller can play the wing. Perfect. Elias Pettersson in the middle. JT Miller on the wing. I feel bad for the other person who's got to join them for the third wheel. But you know what I mean? You guys want to hate each other so much? Play with each other. Figure it out. Because I will tell you one thing. If you want to cure any type of distraction, this goes for the Rangers too. If you want to cure any type of distraction or like, win. If you win, everybody's happy. That beef you have with that player doesn't matter. You won. Nobody's going to be talking about the fact that you don't like X, Y, Z. Just win, baby. And right now, that's not happening enough. Maybe Quinn Hughes and management has to sit them down in a room, lock the doors, and say, hey, get it all out here. Because now, like I said, it's a problem. Every single press conference is going to be about that. And it's causing, if it causes a ruckus in the room with the rest of the guys, this is not okay. Worst case scenario, you have to trade one. And if I'm an NHL team calling, I'm probably going to be talking about, hey, how do I acquire Elias Pettersson? Because I think that's the player with the higher upside. And that's, I think, the player who is less of a problem. Again, This is 100% speculative. I just think JT Miller is probably being the asshole here. That's my guess. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. That's my guess. But I'm not lining up for calling. And look, in the last couple of games, JT Miller has not played well-ish. So, Homie's got to figure it out. Again, we don't know why he was away from the team. Is this related to Petterson? We don't know. But all this uncertainty is not helping the Canucks win hockey games. So they have to figure it out. Again, I would just put them in a room. That's it. You guys don't want to work together? You want to hate each other? Last time I checked, right? If I'm the owner, last time I checked, I signed the checks for both of you. So you're going to figure it out. Because the worst case scenario here would be having to move one of those players. Right? Because that doesn't make your team better. Right? It doesn't. So you have to figure it out. You have to get this working. You have to stop. Again, you don't have to hang out with them. Not playing Fortnite together. Okay? I'm assuming Petterson plays Fortnite. I know JT Miller probably doesn't. But you can't keep going out in the media and being like, hey, man, nothing's wrong. Because you're both lying. You're both lying. Your captain came out and said, it's an in-team thing. We don't know, we're going to deal with it. Tocchet said, sometimes there's a little bit this disagreement stuff. So you as the two players involved can't be like, yeah, nothing wrong. And then one of you storm off from your press conference because you're pissed. And the other one making empty threats that's not going to happen. Yeah, I'll come out here repeating. You'll see it's fine. No. JT, we know that's not true. Figure it out. Sit in a room. It's Christmas. Okay? I would force them to play together. That's just me. That's just me. I just put one in the middle, one on the other side. You don't want to pass to each other? I don't care. Figure it out. You're both gonna suck. But the Vancouver Canucks have to figure this out. But again, am I crying for the Vancouver Canucks? No. Not at all. Not at all. Next. This team I'm definitely not crying for. But it's absolutely astonishing what they've done. The Buffalo Sabres. This is why I waited a little bit. Because I wanted to be able to rip them even more. The Buffalo Sabres have now lost 13 games in a row. And they play tonight, Monday. And I'm very confident in saying they're probably going to lose it. They're probably going to lose tonight as well. Push it to 14. This team is horrendous. Does that make sense? This is not a very good team. Where do they sit in the standings? Last. Okay. So they're last. That's pretty fair. I don't know. Rasmus Dahlin was hurt for a couple of days and stuff. And I guess it was the game that they played against Montreal when I was watching. And I didn't realize how terrible they were until I got to see them. Did Patrik Laine score a hat trick? Yes. But it was watching that team play and their defensive structure and how they just go about their business, which looked terrible. Now, look, my Monday League guys would say, I am no defensive expert, okay? I'm not a two-way forward, all right? My commitment to defense may be the same level as Phil Kessel, okay? But the Sabres are bad. And this losing streak is beyond wild. Because I feel like we keep expecting the Buffalo Sabres to make that jump. I thought they would last season, right? Devin Levi. I thought they could probably be a team that would flirt with a playoff spot because they were there when Craig Anderson was still tending the net. Devin Levi comes in, doesn't work out. Buffalo Sabres miss the playoffs. Now they're dead, they're last. And we've gone through the rebuild here a little bit for the Buffalo Sabres because they drafted Rasmus Dahlin, they drafted Owen Power, they go out, they trade, they acquire Jacob Bryson, right? Traded Casey Middlestat. Dylan Cousins having a miserable year. Tage Thompson is still there. Alex Tuck was part of the Jack Hughes deal. I feel like this team should be getting better, and they're regressing. Okay? General manager Kevin Adams and owner Terry Pegula were in Montreal to be like, that was before they lost 2 more games. I think they were at 11 at that point. Or 10, and then Montreal was the 11, I think. Also, I like how they traveled to Montreal to have that closed-door meeting with the team, of course. Because you don't want to have that meeting back home in Buffalo where there's nothing to do. You want to go have that meeting in Montreal. And I'm not, maybe Terry Pegula took up the opportunity to, hit St. Catherine and try some of the bars and restaurants. You know what I mean? It's no secret. Players love to come to Montreal and hang out and do all that fun stuff, right? I'm sure billion-dollar owners like that as well. Maybe he won't say it, but the timing was interesting. Timing was interesting of it. And it didn't work. It did work. I don't know what to do with the Buffalo Sabres, but I feel like we're 2 steps away from just like folding this franchise. They have been rebuilding forever. They're not a good team. They're not. And I think this needs to be put into perspective for Montreal Canadian fans. Because some of you are like, oh, the rebuild, and it's like, we're not going in the right direction. A rebuild is not a linear line up, right? I.e. the Buffalo Sabres. Some rebuilds don't go very well. The Anaheim Ducks have been rebuilding since, I don't know, since they won their last Stanley Cup, probably. And Buffalo's going in the wrong direction. So I think it's time to just put that in perspective for Habs fans. For Buffalo Sabres fans, I don't know what to tell you. Guys, just like chalk it up, man. Like GG's and leave. Before, I used to just talk poorly about your city and how there's nothing to do there. Now your team is just as bad. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. That one person from Buffalo is going to be like, oh, there's a ton of things to do. There's a TGIF. Okay. And I get Kevin Adams and the rest of them going, well, it's hard to get people here. There's no palm trees and state tax. Okay, but like, if you build a winning culture, players are going to come. I get that it's Buffalo and it sucks and, it's cold and stuff but like, I don't know, man. Your team is not good. This team is not good. What are we going to do? Rebuild again? Like, you can't strip this team of its pieces again. There are players that are there. I think this is more of a coaching and culture problem and not necessarily with the players. You went out and you hired Lindy Ruff for his second tour of duty. And I don't think Lindy's got it anymore. He wasn't very good in Jersey. They let him go. Now New Jersey, one of the better defensive teams in the NHL. Yes, they got a better goalie. That probably helps, but still. And I'm watching this Buffalo Sabres team, and they're just so bad. I don't know I don't know how to help them. They play the Islanders tonight. The Islanders can cure insomnia for you. Like, if you want to fall asleep, watch some Islanders hockey. That'll knock you out. But they play the Islanders. I think the Islanders are going to win. I won't know until I check my app to see, because I'm not watching that game, that's for sure. I don't want to fall asleep before I play hockey tonight. But all I'm saying, Buffalo Sabres, like, just find a new alliance, man. We've been there. We've done that. I'm not crying for the Sabres. Not from that city, man. Okay? I'm not. But the Buffalo Sabres, to me, are cursed. This team, just, I don't know, folded. Also, I think a lot of people are, shitting on Dylan Cousins. I would trade Kirby Dach for Dylan Cousins 1-for-1. That's just me. Kirby Dach's having one of those years. And he's recovering from his knee injury. It takes some time. I know some of you have never had knee injuries. I haven't either, but it takes some time from what I hear. Kirby Dach has been exceptionally bad this year. But if you want to trade Kirby Dach for Dylan Cousins got a big deal. He has scored 30 goals in the NHL. He has done it. Kirby Dach has not. We're waiting for Dach to get there, but I kind of want somebody who has been there already. So I would take Dylan Cousins 1-for-1 for Kirby Dach. I don't think the Buffalo Sabres would, but I'm just saying, if Santa could bring me a gift, Kirby Dach for Dylan Cousins 1-for-1. We're not going to get it for Christmas because the NHL trade freezes happen, so you can't trade players, you can't send them down, waivers, AHL, which is fine, right? Imagine waking up Christmas morning and be like, hey, man, Merry Christmas. You're heading down to the minors. Pack your stuff. I get why they do it, okay? But after the trade freeze, or the move freeze, or whatever they call it, which is the 28th, I think. As of the 28th, you can start doing things. I just give me a gift, all right? Just give me a gift. I told you, we had a lot of things to get to today. We're a half hour into it. We still got to play Puckdoku. I wonder what Elias Pettersson and JT Miller. You imagine if they were Secret Santa? Again, I'm just here to stir trouble, man. I could care less. Figure it out. All right. I know, the moment you've all been waiting for. Puckdoku. Now, we're not going to talk about the last episode because it doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter. We're going to do better here. We're going to try to finish the year off with a bang, all right? If you've never played Puckdoku, it's real simple. I got all teams now, which is a lot easier. I don't have to guess who was an unsigned free agent at some point. We got to find a player on the X and Y axis that have played for both those teams. Sounds easy? All right. Let's get cooking. This look, I think I can do it. Just looking at it, I think I can do it. It's still gonna be tough because I got to think about some, but I think we can do it. Let's start with the Colorado Montreal. Let's start with we're gonna talk about the Artturi Lehkonen. We didn't even have. I told you we had so many things to talk about. We didn't even talk about Justin Barron getting traded. Like, Justin Barron was traded for Carrier. We didn't even talk about it. He was part of the Artturi Lehkonen deal. But anyways, Justin Barron was traded. Didn't work out for him. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. I am happy, though, that Kent Hughes and the gang, they made a trade. It didn't work out. They cut their loss and said, hey, let's move on. And sometimes general managers hold on to players that are like, oh, maybe. Like, maybe Justin Barron isn't an NHL player. Anybody thought of that? Maybe he's not. But he's off now in Nashville, and we'll see what happens there. You know what I mean? We'll see. Next, Anaheim and Colorado. Did Jean-Sébastien Giguère play in Colorado? What about Bernier? What's his first name? Jonathan Bernier. Jonathan Bernier? Yeah, Jonathan Bernier. There we go. I knew it was a goalie. 1% too. Montreal, Buffalo. Josh Georges. Josh Georges. What a beaut, though, Georges was. Absolute beaut. Let's cross off the Montreal-St. Louis line here with Jake Allen. I'm glad Jake Allen's having an absolutely banger of a year, though. He deserves it. Colorado and Ottawa. I mean, is it Puckdoku if we don't put Derek Brassard? The homie's been everywhere. Buffalo and Ottawa. Dominic Hasek. I know. Some of you forget. Well, not 22% of you. Yeah, he played in Ottawa. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Buffalo and Anaheim, I feel like that one's going to be a little bit more. Let's see if we can St. Louis and St. Louis. Oh my God. Now I feel like this is where it's going to get hard. I feel like I had a good start. And then I fell apart here a little bit. What's going on here? Okay, hold on. I'm not cheating for Christmas. You know what I mean? Anaheim and Buffalo. Who would have played for? I forget. Like, here's the thing as well. There's so many players that have played. Like Buffalo's been around a minute, right? So I'm trying to think of like old players. Well, old players. Same thing with St. Louis. I feel like they're such a forgettable franchise. My like, don't you know what I mean? St. Louis, you're just there right now. I know you want a Stanley Cup once upon a time, but I'm trying to think of some Ottawa players. I got off to a good start, but now I'm 3 away. I don't know, man. Anaheim and Buffalo. I'm not going to waste a 1% Jonathan Bernier, right? I'm trying to think of like I wanted to think of some goalies, but like Anaheim's had John Gibson now for the better part of forever. Oh man, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm chalked. GG's, we had a good run here. I can't think of a single one. Ottawa and St. Louis. Did Derek Brassard also play in St. Louis? I'm just, you know what I mean? Derek Brassard is the gift that keeps on giving. I can't. I should have a Derek Brassard tracker as to how many times I use him in Puckdoku. I love it. Oh, Ben Bishop. Some of you forget, but he was in St. Louis and he was in Ottawa before he became, and then he became elite. When that's true, I was thinking of that because of a Jamie McLennan tweet recently, where he was talking about like the 3 goalies that were in the system. I think it was him, Leonard, and Bishop. I don't know why that popped in my head, but I'm glad it did because now I got a chance. Ben Bishop, man. See, like how I got the goalies. You think I could get a goalie for the Ducks and Blues, make it a full goalie line? I got 1, 2, 3, 4 goalies on the board. Goalies are weird. Okay, let's lock in, Chris. Here, let's lock in. We're right there. Okay, Buffalo, Anaheim. Anaheim was not a relocation team. They were an expansion team, so it's not even like I can cheat. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Arizona, right? Rip Arizona Coyotes and the former Winnipeg Jets. You know what I mean? Like it's not that. So Buffalo, Anaheim, Buffalo, Anaheim. I can't think of a single player. Buffalo's also had some really good goaltending. Oh, you know who I should have put? Oh, I could have put him here. Yeah. I could have. I could have put Craig Anderson here as well for Dominic Hasek. I don't think that would have changed anything. Just talking about that. Um, did Adam Henrique? How he played with the Ducks? Did he play in St. Louis? I don't think he did. I'm trying to go way back here, by the way, like way back. I'm not getting it. I'm so, you know what the worst part is? I'm so close. So like, I don't want to give up, but at the same time, I'm like it's gnawing at me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you guys to sit here for 87 minutes and be like, well, why are we not? Anaheim and Buffalo. What if I just start putting some letters in? I was thinking of Pavel Dimitra, but I don't think that one works. Oh, see? Ilya Lyubushkin. Okay, we're cooking. We're right there. I just gotta, I gotta get the brain juices flowing. If you follow my stuff over the Fantasy Alarm, Ilya Lyubushkin for multiple years was the guy who would, good guy, blocks a lot of shots. Okay, I need one for St. Louis. I need one for Anaheim. There's gotta be one player that comes to mind. What if I just put a letter in here? It worked last time. Harko Rutu. I don't think that's it. Let's try a T. Trying to think of a Ducks player. This is my fault. I don't watch enough Ducks. I don't watch enough Ducks hockey. Like, Niedermeyer keeps coming into my head, but I know it's not. Like, I know it's not him. I'm trying to think of like a depth guy, Can I put Cam Fowler here? Like, Cam Fowler was recently traded. Can I put Cam Fowler here? Let's go! We did it. All right, hey, hold on. Oh. We did it, baby. It took us a moment, but we got there. Holy. Oh, man. That recently traded Cam Fowler. Okay. Look at me go. What does the scoreboard look like here? Oh, Patrik Laine. That would have been good. Matt Duchene, yes. Brian Gionta. That was one. I can remember that. Ryan Miller. I forgot Ryan Miller. I did. I forgot Ryan Miller. He did. I forgot he had a small stint in Anaheim. He also had a stint, by the way, in St. Louis. Ryan Miller could have been either here or one. Interesting. At what point did Chris Pronger play with the Ducks? Vladimir Tarasenko makes sense. When did Chris Pronger? He won a Stanley Cup with the Ducks? Oh, shoot. He played that one season in Edmonton, and then his wife's like, I hate it here. It's cold. And he went to Anaheim. You're right. Played 3 seasons in Anaheim. Homie, I'm chalked. St. Louis, yes. Anaheim, you're right. He played 3 years in Anaheim, and he won. That's his only Stanley Cup was in Anaheim. He was part of that team. GG's to Chris Pronger. Okay. There you go. Hey, we did it. What a way to finish. Let's go. You know what I mean? All right. What an absolute banger here. All right, fam. Like I said, there is no episode coming up this week. This is your episode for the week. This is for last week of this week now. All right. This is the final one of 2024. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. All of you who listen, subscribe, share. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Festivus, whatever you celebrate. Again, like, subscribe on YouTube if you're watching. Much appreciated. If you're listening, do the same thing. Follow, share. Follow me on X at FuzzyChris91. Follow the podcast on X as well at Slapshot Podcast. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for making 2024 great. We will see each other in 2025. We're going to have another banger of a year. I know it. As always, I love you. We'll talk to each other soon.